Could you briefly explain about what Tantra is and what is the difference between Sri Vidya path and Kula path?
So Tantra, from my understanding, is, and it's not Tantra, Tantra, the way so many people say it. It's a short, people add their own language. Their own language's use of the A, the letter A or to and you have to learn how not to do that. I had too many lectures about that with the Hindi speakers because they like to change all the words and drop off all the syllables. So I'm not trying to offend any Hindi speakers, but I will argue with you about this. Tantra means technique, but it also means weaving, to weave, to find the thread of the thing that you would weave it together with. So what is that? It's God is the best way to say it. I know a lot of people are averse to the word God. I'm not, so I use it. But if I'm finding that inside me and I'm gotten so deep enough in the path that I'm interested to keep going, then you can find where that connection is in you. So then I'm weaving it together, right? Because through you is also God, through the tree is also God, through the grass, through the earth. So when you're weaving it all together, but then the technique part comes in is whatever lineage, whatever parampara you're in, is teaching you a set of techniques that goes with their lineage to help you figure out how to find that awareness of that thing in me, that thing in you, and then the connection. Oh, that is the same. Oh, that is the same. Mm-hmm. But really, they say tantra, mantra, yantra. The tantra is the technique of how to use the mantra and how to use the yantra. Yantra can be a drawing that looks like a bunch of geometrical shapes, which is what it is, done in a certain way. But when you get deep enough into Tantra, you realize that the physical body is really the yantra. It's where all of the energy is going to go through when you're doing the mantra, when you're doing the techniques, when you're doing visualizations, when you're reading, when you're chanting, when you're doing these things, you're going to feel it in this body. So the yantra becomes the physical body. So you don't have to use the external symbol so much anymore. Now, if you have a shri chakra, you have to take care of it. Like you have to still do the puja. You still have to do the abhishekam. You still have to do all the things. You don't get to just stop doing it. So that's a different story, though. But as far as it goes, Tantra, you can sit there with nothing and do it. If you've gotten the right technique, how to use this mantra and how to use the different other techniques they've taught you. You don't need anything. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have a temple just because you do that. I happen to have a guru that has a temple, so there's those things are getting woven in with that stuff too. But it doesn't have to be like that. You can live in the forest, with no clothes and figure it out.
Right. And what is the difference between Sri Vidya path and the Kula?
It's interesting because I started with the Kula because Samashana Kali is the Ishta Devi that grabbed me. I had an experience in Kashi with Masan Kali, the Kali there, the Murti there, mm-hmm. And it really shook me up. And then that's how I found this lady who is from the Kula. So that was my first experience, and it seems very much deeper to me. So my first introduction to the Sri Vidya Kula was with Guruji. But through him, I'm finding that it's not a shallow path. It's also got its own depths. One is just a little bit, I'll say this and I'll piss off somebody because that's what I do, I think, but because I say things the way I see them in a simple way. Kula is more in my heart, but because it's called Kula. Kula is like Kula is family, mm-hmm. and it feels that way to me. And so Guruji, I think he mainly teaches Sri Vidya techniques, but with the Kula feel to it. So there's a family feeling there, mm-hmm. and a togetherness feeling. And that is also in Sri Vidya. But I didn't know that until I met him, and he told me this is where that comes from, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So to me, Kula, the traditional one that's centered around Kamakya, seems a little bit more, they're really strict with their techniques. You have to do it at the same time every day. They will yell at you if you do something. If you substitute this for that, no, we don't do that. But it's a little bit messier. And Sri Vidya is a little bit cleaner and prettier to look at. I don't know if that's the best way I can say it. One is a little bit, they're okay with the messiness and they're okay with the chaos of it. They all have the same offerings. They all do Bali. They all do.
Sri Vidya also has Bali?
They do.
Okay.
They do Panchamakara. They use the 5 M's.
Yeah.
They all have the same things. It's just interesting how but there's also teachings that say it all came from Kashmir, and when it went this way, it became this. When it went down here, it became this way. But when you go to Kamakhya, they teach their history back for 10,000 years, and that the yoni was always there, and that the whole universe came from that. So I don't know that they believe that it came from Kashmir. They believe it came. I don't know the truth of that either, because nowadays you're so removed from this stuff.